something. Something's happening. It's probably Franco, one of Franco's 82 or whatever, 84 aspects downloading information to me. How's it going, everybody? It's last show of the day. We're getting off early today, but we saved the best. This is going to be a very unique experience. Sorry, I just had some peanut butter. Thank God you can't smell my breath. Yeah, it's going to be a great experience. We got Franco and Kimberly Ross. Franco, of course, has been out there leading the way for so many years, and behind the scenes is Kimberly. So I'm really excited to be able to be part of this. So let me pull them up here. Getting like all this energetic stuff moving for me right now. I don't know what's happening. All right, let's see. Start video. Yeah, there we go. ¿Qué pasa? How y'all doing? It's good to see y'all.
Good to see you too again.
Franco's messing around with the computer.
Yeah, I'm still trying to mess around with the computer.
It's okay. Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, it's so cool to see. It's good to see y'all. I need to see y'all. God, man, I just have all this energy that's just like up in my higher heart, and it's like exploding.
Yeah, cool.
I think it came from y'all though.
I don't know. I'm having a hot flash, so maybe there's something going on.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I feel a hot flash right now.
Yeah.
Like it just started like 5 minutes ago.
Well, maybe you've caught mine.
Strong energies coming through. That's all.
Yeah, I think so. God, I was looking at. I'm trying to keep up with all the work y'all are doing.
Yeah, it's been busy.
Oh my God, I went to. Well, it's easier for me just to go to YouTube. So I went to YouTube, and it's like 16 or 17. Well, there's 16, and there's an older one that y'all put in, but
yes,
16 in like less than a month.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work, man. Thank you.
we've been doing 3 per week, and so it all started. I don't know if I told you the story. I may have already, but it was a very strong message from my higher self on a Friday that starting Monday, which is only a few days away, that you're going to be doing this series. And I'm going, oh, I'm not even technically advanced enough for got all the stuff together because it was, you have to live stream, but you're live streaming on Facebook, and we had to set up a Facebook group, which we had one before, but we hadn't even launched it yet. But a Facebook group, my 2 personal pages, plus YouTube and Vimeo, and what was the other one?
I think it's
Twitter,
YouTube page.
Twitter, and LinkedIn. And I go, huh? Like, how am I supposed to do all of that? Anyway,
You did it, didn't you?
we did.
Nice, yep.
The only thing we didn't get is Instagram yet. That we haven't figured that little glitch yet.
Well, I mean, I think that's more than forgivable, for Christ's
Yeah,
sake.
we'll let it slide this time.
Yeah.
No kidding. So I know. Yeah, I've been watching. Well, you know that I watch everything, and I was looking at when you first came out on Facebook, it's like 20,000 views and then 15,000 views, and here we go with that conversation again. But I was watching YouTube, even though I think it's suppressed too. But you can see that there's some traction happening, even though the numbers aren't huge, but you can see the traction and the engagement of people, because that's a lot of information that you put out. You put out, I counted 16. I know a couple were kind of shorter, but you're talking about like 20 plus hours of work, man. I mean, and that's just what's on the video.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I understand too, because I understand the energetic aspect of it, I think pretty good because of what I do. That's like a lot of energy, man. It's just a lot.
Yeah, it is. And there, originally we had thought that, well, the way I sensed it was like a 20 to 40 minute snippet of each of the topics, because I've got 4 pages full of topics to cover. And well, yeah, the first one was like 45 minutes. After that, it's way over an hour, up to an hour and a half and more. Last night was almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I knew you would never keep it. It's impossible for Franco to talk for only 20 minutes.
Well, but it's good information.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think you can make it that concise in 20 minutes, because it's not. There's a lot of background information that you have to kind of set the table with, and even like I watched a couple of shows, and then I had to go back to a previous show to kind of see where you were at to go into the next show, even though I'm familiar with your work. But yeah, so I was excited. I didn't know how the schedule laid out, and I'm getting a little bit burnt. I need a little time, but like, oh, they're on at that. That's cool. I can deal with that. That's going to be cool. Well, because like we know you personally. We meet with you guys sometimes, like maybe every few weeks, and we have a like this, but it's just me, you, and Morgan. And so I know your story, which is really cool, and so I thought, wow, that's cool, because all that work's being put out right now, and a lot of people don't know that Kimberly's involvement, and I know on the show you can tell she's there because she talks and everything. And then people that have been in your groups, because you have like a twice monthly Q&A thing, and you both participate, because I've had people tell me about it, and that we're familiar with Kimberly. But yeah, so most people, I would think, know Franco because he's been out there for so long, and don't know the other side. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and she does play a pretty big role in it, because I mean, she does all the prep work, sends everything out, monitors stuff, and does a lot of back end work, just getting things together. So, and then she monitors everything as we're doing the show, and monitors all the comments from all the pages. It's not like one page. She's monitoring quite a few pages, and then asks the questions and whatever else. And then she also gives me the timeout thing, it's like,
That's
okay, you're talking too long.
No, and that's not for those. That's when we're doing the retreat.
Right.
And
But
so
yes.
you guys have been, you guys have known each other for how long?
9 years we'll be together April 1st.
And, oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a good number too. 9 completion. And so were you working together? Were you collaborating together from the beginning?
No, I wouldn't say. I mean, I've always been wanting to help Franco do stuff. And it took him a while to let go of some certain things so we could do that. So now that he has, it's easier.
Well, I was used to working alone, so.
Yeah. So,
But
Yeah.
it was a huge hand though afterwards because I
Yeah.
didn't have to monitor and do everything. So that was a huge assistance.
so I mean, I like organizing stuff and I like doing the write-ups and all that stuff. And so it's easier to put it together than I find with Franco, then if someone's doing that, then it's easier for him to just go and do it. Instead of if he has to organize, he gets overwhelmed and then it's hard
Yeah.
to get out there.
Yeah. It's hard to do both.
Yeah.
It's hard to do both.
Yeah.
Because I did the same thing and I had to relinquish control.
Mhm. Yeah.
This took several months, several tantrums and several months. So I know the story of how y'all met. I mean, you don't have to go into the whole thing, but it's really cool, you know, how it all started. I don't know if you guys mind just talking about that because it's pretty cool. Yeah.
So did you want to go with it?
Yeah, sure. I'll start. You finish.
Okay.
Yeah, so I found out about. I'm not even sure how I found out about Franco because I lived up north, which was 2.5 hours or 3 hours from where Franco lived, and someone sent me a link to his stuff, and so he was doing online events. And I thought, okay, I'm going to check this guy out. And I had just taken a hypnosis course, and he had done a live clearing on one of these weekend things. I can't remember what it was called.
It was a live event, but it was also streamed at the same time.
And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I was watching him do this live clearing, and it seems similar to what would happen in a hypnosis session. So I was curious about him for a session around what he does and how he does it, and because it seemed to be effective. So I thought, oh, I'm going to check him out and go have a session with him. So I booked an appointment, and my dad was really ill at the time. He had just been diagnosed with cancer. And so I thought, oh, okay, there was some stuff coming up around that. And I'd already been exploring for a good part of my life, awareness, consciousness and stuff like this. And so I thought, oh, I'll check Franco out. As a facilitator, how he facilitated sessions. So I went and had a session with him, and it was pretty interesting. And when I first met him in person, when I first opened the door for the session, and I went to his because he did them in his apartment, and he opened the door and I saw him for the first time in person. I thought my first response was I looked at him and thought, whoa, that guy has a lot of love in him. And I wasn't thinking in a romantic way. I could just see the love in his eye. Like I could see him because his soul was very present. And so there's a difference in Franco when his soul's present and when his soul isn't present. And so we just had a nice session, and then I went home. Then my dad passed away in February. This was in January. And I wasn't going to go back. I had scheduled another session with Franco, and I thought, I don't think I'm going to go to it. Because usually I never go to sessions, never do that kind of thing. And my mom said, oh, yeah, you should still go. So I said, okay, I'll still go. And then so the next session we went. Still, there was no romantic anything going on. I just felt, of course, very comfortable with him, and it was very easy to talk to him. And then I had the session and felt lots of comfort and left. And then I'll let you finish.
So anyways, she was, we got done with the session, and it was about 10:30 at night because she got a late appointment. So as she was about to walk out the door, I said, well, drive carefully. Hopefully you don't have to drive too far. And she says, oh, I'm about 3 hours away. And I go, whoa, where do you live? Right. And then she said she lived in Halliburton. And I said, why did you take an evening appointment if you have to drive back 3 hours and it's already past 10:30 by this point? You're not going to get there until the morning, right? And she says, oh, I don't mind driving at night and whatever else. So anyways, I said, okay, drive carefully. And I said, if you have to stop for a few minutes before when you get into your car, because I did some energy work on her too. So I said, if you feel a little bit off, just, take it easy before you drive off, right? So she's walking down the hallway to the elevator. And my soul, the voice that I always have with me says, why don't you ask her to stay? No, ask her to stay over. He didn't even say why or just ask. He said, ask her to stay over. And I go, why? I'm talking to myself. I go, why am I asking her to stay over, right? He says, no, ask her to stay over, right? By this time, she went around the corner to the elevators, and my higher self is giving me a hard time. It's like, ask her. And I said, no. And then I heard the bell of the elevator come in. So she walked in the elevator and went down. So she was going down to the underground parking. And he goes, well, go see her downstairs. And I go, no, there's so many cars down there. I don't even know what her car looks like or anything like that. I'm not doing that, right? So anyways, I left it at that. And it was later, after I cleaned up, got set up, because the next morning I was going to be doing sessions again. This was a Friday night. So now, if I had asked her to stay over, like the energy room that I was actually doing the session with, I could have just put out the blow up mattress and she would have been fine. She had her own bathroom and everything else. It wasn't,
like a romantic.
Not that type of thing. So anyways, I emailed her and said, basically, sorry, I could have asked you to stay over, whatever it is, sometimes I and I didn't tell her about the conversation I had with my higher self, insisting that I asked her to stay over. But anyways, I sent her the email, and you could say that part, because you remember that part.
I remember when I went home that night, late last night, I thought, the feeling came out that I think I have a feeling I'm going to get an email from Franco the next morning. But I knew that he was super busy. Like the guy was doing sessions 24/7 practically. So it was like, I knew he was a busy man. And but for some reason I thought, oh, I think he's going to send me an email. So the next morning I woke up and there was an email from Franco saying, oh, it was good. Oh, you did say you would have asked me, you would have.
Yeah, I should have asked.
But you didn't know how I would respond to it or something. Yeah,
something like that. But I didn't tell you about my higher self saying that. That was way later.
Yeah.
But so from that, we just kept communicating back and forth for, I don't know how long.
Only a week on the phone. And then,
no.
Email.
Email. And then it was a month on the phone.
Yeah, every night.
Every night on
the
phone. And there was this profound love for her. Like it was, and I remember at one point I told her I had loved her. And it was like
2 weeks in.
I'm going, I can't believe I'm saying this.
I can't either.
And I couldn't believe that what I was feeling, because I had never experienced that type of love before. And I was in 2 other relationships before. One, I had children with for 26 years. The second one was 6 years. So it was a very different relationship. And of course, we were on different pages altogether. There was no alignments in that regards, but it was kind of something that needed to happen. So it went. But here we are, and I'm saying that to her, and then I'm going. And the thing is too, Todd, after the second relationship ended, I said to myself, no more relationships. That's it. I'm done. I finished my 32 years with 2 people. Done. No more. And I made that statement, the decree to me. I said, no more. That's it. And because of the work I was doing, there was a lot of women, because most of my sessions were women, and most of my workshops were majority women. So somehow it leaked out that I was single again, and I had lots of offers, wanted to connect, and everybody was friendly and everything else. And I kept saying, no. And of course I upset a few women, but anyways, then, Kimberly was able to get in there, and there was no way of saying no. It was not that she was insisting, it was my higher self was not letting me off the hook there. And I'm going, okay. And then, then after that, we kept, because she lived so far, she would only come on the weekends, every 3rd weekend. Then it became every 2nd weekend. Then it became every weekend. And then it was
harder and harder.
It got harder and harder. And then she says, I think I'm going to move in. And I know my higher self, my personal self, human self was going, oh shit. That means like she's going to be here all the time. I don't know. I mean, I love her and everything else, but I don't know if I can handle this yet. But anyways, she was persistent. So she moved in. Actually, it was January 2012. So be just past 8 years.
Just in time for the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, darn.
There's no coincidence there.
No.
When you wrote her that first email, it sounded like like you were smitten. I should have asked you, but I didn't know what you would say. That sounds like. Were you aware that you had a affection for her then?
No, I didn't. Actually, it was really strange because I don't pay attention to people when I'm working with them. And when I say pay attention, I don't pay attention so much to the physical aspects of them. I'm usually working with their soul, their energetic bodies. I'm doing a session to go into their operating system. So as much as I see the person in front of me, I don't like refer it in my mind as this is who this is. Unless I've seen somebody several times, I don't even remember what they look like. It was just that way. And so when I sent her that message, I can't remember why I said it the way I said it, but it just came out that way. And I thought, oh, okay. But look at this. We emailed at first, then we were on the phone every night. And it was like 3 weeks into it. I had to actually say to her one day, I said, is it possible you can send me a picture of you? Because I don't remember what you look like. But I didn't know how to tell her. But I ended up telling her, I said, I hope you don't mind, but I don't pay attention to people, on the physical aspect. Because I didn't remember her. Todd, I was serious. I did not remember. I go, what does she look like? I don't even remember, right? But here, meanwhile, I had these strong feelings for her. And it was just like an ultimate love. It wasn't even a non-conditional love. It was just it was that profound love. Eventually, she made me wait for almost a week before she sent me a picture. And then she finally sent the picture and I looked at it and I go, oh yeah, I remember you, but I told her, I hope it doesn't bother you, but I can't remember. Right. So yeah, that's how far it was. So I didn't know any of that. It just kind of took its own course. It seemed like it went the way it needed to go. And she was right. I was busy because I was doing sessions 7 days a week from 10 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. So 12 hours minimum. And a lot of times I had to do emergency ones internationally, which I would do on Skype, which ended up going 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Right. So time for a person in my life, that wasn't any time for it at all.
And you told her in the first 2 weeks that you loved her during the phone call phase?
Oh, it was after a week in the phone.
Yeah. He says, I said, how can you say that to me?
That's so, that would be so atypical Franco. Yeah, to me it would. Like he'd be the last person to even go there, because he's so like you said, Kimberly, you said that you'd been on the path for a long time.
Yeah. With that?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I grew up in a pretty aware family. Like my parents were pretty open. My dad especially was. He had shared lots of information. Like he read all those Seth books, and so he was always exploring. So he would share some of the information with us. We used to have these little Thursday night meetings as kids where we could talk about anything about life, Wow. And then I had been married too for 23 years. And when I separated from my husband, before I was between that and meeting Franco was 4 years by myself with just my daughter pretty much living with me, my youngest. And so I dedicated that entire time for my own relationship with myself, because I had such a strong pull to know myself. I worked in social services as a youth outreach worker. And it's always been, in order to help someone else, you need to know who you are and be a clear conduit, right? So when I separated from my husband, the last thing I wanted was a relationship, and I wanted to dedicate that time to myself. Also, I would never have gone out and looked for a relationship because I was content. And I was of the belief as well that if I needed to meet someone, the right person would show up when they need to, because I wasn't into dating or doing any of the online stuff or any of that. None of that appealed to me. And I didn't want an average person.
Yeah, that seems
I,
like to be a prerequisite for these
yeah.
couplings.
So I said, you know, if I'm going to hook up with somebody, they have to be really conscious and aware and want to do something for humanity.
Well, that's where I was going with it, because I mean, like, I know I'm biased, but I just absolutely resonate and adore you guys, you know. And then Franco being in a similar, you know, in front of a camera, and you know, even though I don't do the same thing he does, he's like my dude, you know. Like, I just I study him, and I watch what he puts out. I go back and watch the stuff he put out 7-8 years ago. So Franco, to me, and I know I'm biased, is like, I mean, there's people that are conscious, and then Franco's like out of here somewhere. You know, he's like off the screen up here. So, you know, and for instance, like, he's got recollection of incarnations on other planets. So, you know, this is like, you know, this is like super conscious or something, right? So, okay, so if you're coming from where you were coming from, and you were clearing out, you know, aligning over 4 years, and you made the same statement so many people that seem to be coming to relationships make, which is, I'm not going to do it again, and you know, I'm done. And then it happens. But so when you got to know him, did some of the things that he talked about to you, did it freak you out a little bit, or did you just take it in stride?
No, it never freaked me out. I mean, I know some people thought it would freak me out. Someone else that he was working with it, but no, because I mean, I'd done lots of exploring. I like the way Franco's talked, the way he explained things. And I had my own bunch of experiences. He gave me some good clarification on some things that I wasn't understanding what exactly was going on. And but I could also I see that whole person of Franco. I know you see that part of him, the teacher part of him, but I see the little boy Franco, and I see the human Franco that Franco doesn't always see.
Yeah, I saw it when we talked last time. I saw the little boy for the first time. I was like chuckling the whole time.
Yeah, so I do feel part of us coming together. It's a complementary relationship in that. So like I said to you guys, the last call we had together, I feel that as regards to his human experience, I feel that our relationship kind of grounds him more in that human experience that he wasn't able to ground in, and I give him space to do that in a good way, because he is finding stuff that he's had as a human that he hasn't recognized prior to that. If you know what I mean, like programs, stuff that from trauma as a kid and stuff, because he's up there and he's being up there, it's like he needs to come down here and be part of this in order to be able to assist people in an even better way that people can relate to him. So I feel, and for me, what I get from him is he keeps me grounded in the above stuff. You know, it's like we're a good combination.
Yeah, I get that. I can relate to that. And so, last question on that part. So, like, I never thought I would see somebody shapeshift. It's one thing to think about it, or read about it, or hear about it, but to actually be laying next to somebody that turns into a dragon or whatever, that's a different kind of deal. And I look back, and it wasn't really like, you know, I didn't freak out. I didn't like say, oh, that's normal. How I know I'm not saying anything's happened or hasn't happened, but things like that, like where there's a physicality to the level of frequency that he has, did anything throw you off and make you second guess?
There was times There's lots of times, especially early on. It still does it once in a while, but there's like when he would just be staring at me and I'm going, oh shit, who's that looking at me? And there's an alien looking at me right now. And I wouldn't say anything to him. I just say, my God, that's not Franco. Who's there? Like it was clearly something else, somebody else there staring at me with this very observer space, like not, there was no emotion there. There was no nothing. It was like he was observing me. It was, I felt like I was being observed. Okay. So yeah, I don't see that quite as much anymore.
No, and a lot of times you look at me and go, who am I looking at? Or who's looking at me, right? I mean, she's been pretty, I don't think you ever saw me full shape shifting. And I'm glad, because the times that it happened, she was either out of the room or, or you were away, where I actually, saw the whole body shape shift, where, all of a sudden you're looking at it and go, whoa, how did I become 7 feet tall and gray skin right now and have different hands and feet and everything changed? It's like, whoa, okay. But I'm glad she didn't see it. That one time she was in the next room because I was doing
I knew you were someone different.
Yeah, because my voice changed. Yeah, because I was actually doing not a live stream. I wasn't on video. It was just audio teleseminar. And I was doing a teleseminar with somebody. And she was in the other room listening through her computer. And that was one of the days that I did not listen to my higher self, basically, because my higher self said, no, cancel this live, what do you call it, teleseminar. And I go, no, I can't. It's like, I'm committed. We planned it. Everybody knows I'm coming on and everything else, because it was promoted. And I was using a promoter. At that time, I had sort of a manager, if you want to call it that, because I was doing work for Masterpiece Life when they were around. And so, and I knew Antonia at the time, she, I didn't want to disappoint her in a sense. And I know that she would have. So when we connected on the phone with her, I said, listen, I'm really getting the message. I'm not supposed to be doing this tonight. Right. And she goes, oh, no, it's okay. Once you get started, it'll be fine. Right. And so I said, I don't know, but okay, and we'll do it. And so she did the introduction, the show introduction and everything else like you do. And then it came on to me, and my soul was not coming in. My soul was saying, no, you're on your own, type of thing. But then all of a sudden, I felt a shift within me, and I'm going, who the hell is this? What's going on here? I've never experienced that before. And so my voice changed, and the way I communicated it was so, not even abrupt, but how could you say it? It
just didn't sound like you.
No,
it was just like,
but it was like so firm. It was super firm. It was like just,
and it was fast, and it was like,
fast,
and it was more not as soft.
Yeah, there was no no Franco
like,
version of it. Right? It was just like, all right. After it stopped, there was a second part of it, which I always did a meditation, because first I talked about the topic, and then I would do a meditation activation at the end. So
I thought that's when it showed up, during the meditation.
Well, no, the other part, no, that was the voice. Then what happened is Antonia called me up, and she goes, because we had a break, we give a 10-minute break for everybody to get settled, get themselves comfortable, because I was going to do the meditation. So they get a 10-minute break after the talk. And she goes, who the heck was that? And I go, I don't know, but it didn't feel like me, right? I said, someone else stepped in here, and it was running the show here, right? And so I said, let's not do the meditation. She says, no, let's do it anyways, right? I said, all right, anyways. So the break comes on, she comes in. And so when I do the meditation, I was kind of sitting in a reclining chair, slightly reclined. And I have the headsets and 2 mics on me, the mic to transmit and the mic to record, because I would record everything digitally afterwards and make it available. So I had 2 mics on me and everything else. And so what I do is I close my eyes and I start going into a meditative state, or a slightly meditative state, altered state. Well, normally what happens is I get into a really super quiet state and I can feel the connection, but it stops there. And then I start and I go into a channeled state sort of thing. It's my soul channeling. Well, this time it was different. I kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. And I went into paralyzation to the point, you know, when you have that, you can't move. Like oh shit, what am I supposed to do now? And I can't move. I'm in the chair. And these people are ready to come online. I'm being brought back on again, and I can't move. I go, oh shit, what's that? Then she introduced me. She said, okay, everybody get yourself comfortable and then take it over, Franco. And I'm going, all right. And then some sounds start coming out of my mouth, like I was started to talk. But I wasn't sure if it was me talking or I was just imagining myself talking because I couldn't connect the two. It's just like, who's talking? Am I actually talking? Am I actually saying anything? I don't know. Like I couldn't tell. And not only that, when I'm doing this work with the energies going, it's like somebody plugs me into a socket. So I feel electricity moving through me, like heat waves and electricity. Because usually I sweat too at the same time when I'm doing these deeper stuff. Well, this time it felt like somebody, instead of plugging me into 110 or 115 volts, whatever they commented, somebody plugged me into 220 because all of a sudden it was just like super powerful. But I was in this state where I paralyzed. And here I am speaking, you know, doing the meditation. A bunch of people dropped out. They just couldn't stay on the call. You know, more than half. Actually, I found out from Antonia because she was on the logic on the board that monitors who's on and everything else because it was being live streamed or whatever you call it.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Anyways, so at one point, halfway through that part of that meditation, I try to force my eyes open. And I finally got my eyes open and I'm looking at my body and my legs are really long and they're grayish and the feet are different. And I'm looking at my hands and I go, oh boy, what the heck has happened now, right? Meanwhile, I had this only in my mind because I was only still in that trance of transmitting. And so when it got finished, you know, hung up and everything, I got cut off. I got turned off from her end. And then I'm thinking to myself, I hope Kimberly's not going to come in the room right now because she's going to freak out, right? And so I was telepathically telling her, don't come in the room, right? Because I was waiting to go back into my natural state again because I didn't want her to see this 7-8 foot being, gray being, and I could imagine what my head looked like or whatever else. And I go,
crazy.
She's not going to be too happy about seeing that, right? So anyways, it was great because you delayed and you didn't come in until later. And when she came in, I had shifted back, right? So that was the real powerful one when she was with me. Other times when I do talks, people see me shapeshift, but not so profound. Only certain people can see me, whatever it is, right?
But nothing, but to that point, Kimberly, nothing's shocked you or?
I wouldn't say so. I'm pretty open there, Tom.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, I don't think so. There hasn't been really, I don't think anything Franco said or done that's really shocked me at all.
Well, that says something. And so like, and like the other thing that says something to me is like, Franco is Franco, you know, he's like Franco everywhere you see him. And then, but with you, there's a whole other, and I know I'm the same way with Morgan. Like if I'm with Morgan at 95% of the time, I'm a little boy, you know, I mean, I'm just want to play and, you know, and it's just, I don't know, but that's so interesting. And I really saw it the last time we talked the other day for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it comes out once in a while when he allows it, but I think too, as a child, that's part of this embodying this whole physicality, is soul coming in and truly embodying it. He never allowed himself to have fun or play really as a kid because everything was serious for him and how he grew up. And when I first met Franco, like I said, I saw that sad boy there that needed to come out and play. He couldn't see it at that time. He's seeing it now. He's seeing it more now, but yeah.
Yeah, and she is playful. I mean, I remember when we first got together, she would drag me out of the apartment. Say, we got to go for a walk. We got to go out in nature. We got to go do this and that. And so with her, it was great because she reminded me that I needed to live life too as a human on a planet, because I had gone so much into service. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
Right? You know.
Yeah. I knew that about you, and I could relate to that. You know. In my own situation. But then when I talked to you the last time, it was like the first time I actually I saw you open up, and I was like, oh, and then Kimberly was talking in this manner about your little boy and about needing to anchor stuff. And then I heard you say, basically the human is a hero. Basically, you said, I know that I'm here in this human aspect and to be human, basically. And I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
I've never heard Franco say that before.
Well, it's been a tough thing because, I mean, she's kept drilling me on that too, because for me, I had this operating system that humans were weak, not weak in a sense, like being in a human body had its weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
And for me to be able to just hold this high energy that the human body couldn't hold on to it. But then they created a disconnect, and then my body started to shut down. So in fact, it's just like, oh, you don't really need me. Meanwhile, I did, because without the physicality, I couldn't do what I'm here to do, right? So, and I know Kimberly was saying that for quite some time. You got to embrace the human body, and it's like, it's too high, heavy maintenance, this and that, whatever it is, right? But at the same time, and it was interesting because even before Kimberly came along, I mean, I was like a toothpick. Like I was just that, because to me, I would forget to eat. I would never even have any conscious about that. It was just like, oh, I haven't eaten for a couple of days. Maybe I should have something, right? But then, but that whole human thing, it was very difficult. But then, now it's been much more powerful. Like, I have to fully embrace it. All of us have to fully embrace it.
Yeah.
There's many people out there that say, I want to just go home. I don't belong here, whatever it is. Well, the fact that you're here means that you're here, and you need to be here, and you're in the physical body for a purpose, not, just say, okay, I'm an advanced soul or whatever soul that's come in, and that the body is not necessary. Because if it wasn't necessary, it wouldn't embody it. It wouldn't take one. It would just work in non-form,
Right.
and work through other people or whatever it is. But it was instrumental. So I had to really get to the point of accepting and loving, or allowing myself to feel connected to the body and see it as a team.
Well, I think too, because the way you were brought up, and because you were so different, you were the weirdo, right?
Mm.
So a lot of people didn't accept him for who he was. So I think of all the people in your life, I'm the first one that accepted you
absolutely.
completely, besides your children. So that's a big thing. Go all your life with not having anyone that truly gave him love. Like, he didn't get that kind of nurturing love, and I'm pretty nurturing, loving person. So
do you guys have you had like shared dimensional experiences, or like just things that happen that most of the time just happen to one person?
I don't know. I know there was a time when I was away up north. I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but I think that I was missing Franco, and I don't know if I was concerned about you. There was something going on, if you weren't well or something.
I can't remember.
But anyways, so when I went to bed that night, where I was putting my energy towards him. And now I don't have a conscious memory of this, but then Franco, you can say it. Then I showed up at the apartment, like totally there. So you can share what you saw.
Yeah, I got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I walked by her. In fact, I even bumped into her, right? And I go, oh, I thought you weren't here, or whatever, because I knew she was away. She went up north to see her family or something. But anyway, then she came and lie down beside me, and meanwhile, she wasn't there, but she was there because I could see her I mean, we're in an apartment, there's lots of lights outside, so they were streaming through the window anyway. So, and I saw her presence there. And there was a couple other times that you it wasn't as vivid, but you've done, shown up there, things of that nature. A lot of times we do, there's other connections, not to the degree that you and Morgan do.
No.
In a sense where you guys.
Well, but that's pretty. What you just described. That's pretty. I mean, that's beyond an apparition. That was a physical.
But I
can
did
feel it, everything.
That was you don't bump into an apparition. You either feel but no, I mean, I don't see how that could even. That's just like so. And does your connection, your intimate connection, does it have a does it convert to a creative expression or expressions, like in the work you do or in other ways? Do you see it that way, or?
The thing I've noticed, and this was pretty, I have never had those experiences prior, but with her, it's almost like you become one. Like you don't even feel separate anymore. It's like the bodies become one body, right? And you see no distinction anymore, and that was profound to me. Even the first time, I was going, "Wow, okay, that's." There's no more separation. There's no more Kimberly and myself. It was just one. The body's like merged into it. It melted into it, this sort of thing. So, which when that happens, it actually brings another level of energy and oneness that is being experienced. So it really kind of feels very powerful and charging too at the same time. And, it was something I was amazed at in a very good way, and I was just like, wow. I mean, I didn't even know that was possible. But I would talk about the merging and stuff like that, but I never had really experienced it until I experienced it.
I don't think it has to be with their romantic partner either, because I've experienced that with Franco, but I also experienced it one time with my mother. I had done a hypnosis session on her, and she was, we were meditating together, and I got up and I was looking at her, and there was like I could not distinguish a difference between her and I. We were the same. And the only other person I've had that with is with Franco. And it's pretty incredible, and a pretty incredible feeling to have that with somebody. But
does do those moments, like, are they followed by like new information or new transmissions, or does anything seem to change after that? Because it sounds like you are going to an expanded frequency.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Todd. If there probably is. I would think there would have to be something transpiring, and maybe I'm just not fully aware of it all.
Yeah.
But to have those experiences, there's something taking place.
Yeah, what I feel from that type of experience is that it's hard to explain. It's like seeing. It's almost like a confirmation of that whole oneness thing and the merging and all of that, in a sense. So where you see yourself in another aspect of yourself, and the two don't become distinguished anymore. Like you were saying, that there was no difference between you and your mom, but with me, that's what I noticed. And the other thing is, I do find that when that happens, that it's almost like you've grasped, you're actually tapping another level of energy and consciousness that makes you even much more relatable in the sense of understanding the towards each other. Yes. Yeah. And another level of appreciation for the journey together, and the fact of how powerful this human experience is. The one thing I did realize from that, I wanted to share, is that being intimate has its own mechanics that's special about it, whatever it is. However, when you have something of that nature, it's so powerfully moving within, it almost like elevates you to another level that you feel afterwards. It's like you've just, you know, went through that glass ceiling of that range that you were already at, you know.
Wow.
I think too, it seems like a natural progression for the love that we share. Because I've never had this form of love either that I have for Franco. It truly is unconditional. Like I say, even if we weren't together, I would love him just as much as I love him now. Like, so I think it just is another, it just felt like another, it was just part of what we have. It was just part of what we share. And that's natural. It's a natural thing for us to feel that and to experience that.
Yeah.
Because of the connection we have.
Have either one of you, I mean, because I know Franco's, that's part of his role is pulling in intel, but have you ever gotten any intel that was related to the two of you and like what your role is or anything like that?
I have. I've had lots. I get lots of dreams. Earlier in the relationship, actually, I had a dream that Franco and I were going to go through some really intense stuff, and there was a lot of work to be done. And it was super urgent. It felt really urgent. This was like probably in the first year or two of our relationship. And in the dream, I knew I had to help him with something. We both had work to do, but I really had to help him go through something, which is I feel what we're going through now and what we're almost out of. And that's about Franco connecting to his human side and embodying that more in order to do the work he has to do here on a higher level. Because it's not as easy for people to relate to Franco when I first met him, because he was like up here and he didn't acknowledge the ego or anything really in himself. He didn't see it the way everybody else feels it. So it's brought him back into this where he can feel what's like from all his past stuff and like the trauma that you experienced that you didn't recognize. And I don't think because your alien soul is like he wasn't in tune with that, so he had to bring that in there. It's been quite a journey.
I mean, some of the stuff that had come back from my childhood, I remember. I have the memories of that time, and I remember it like it didn't even faze me. I'm looking at it and I go, oh, okay, you know, abuse, whatever it was going on and all that stuff. And it's like, it didn't really register as that I was supposed to be traumatically influenced by it, or that the fact it was affecting my emotions or anything like that. And it's almost like I hadn't even given myself permission to even acknowledge it. It was just happening. And it was just like, oh, it's happening, whatever. But it wasn't until just a while ago, especially when I was not well, because I needed to have the catalyst, because the body was going through some tough times, that all of a sudden these memories were coming back. But now there was a storyline behind it, an emotion around it, and everything else. And I'm going, holy shit! It did impact me. Like, but I didn't feel it then, because I remember Kimberly was saying, "Well, you know, how could you have gone through all of that and not be affected?" I go, I didn't feel anything. I remember, even when my father was being very abusive, he just used to drink a lot and used to be, beat the crap out of us. And I remember taking it, and then I remember the first time I felt like a little scared boy, but afterwards it's like, you want to hit me, you hit me. I'm not going to be hurt by this, right? And even though I felt physical pain, it was just like, no, it didn't register that was something not good. It was just like, okay, I'm not enjoying the accentuated physical pain because of it, and whatever it was. So at that point, it was nothing. It didn't, and the fact that I didn't have a relationship with him, and I didn't have a relationship with my mother either. So the way it was going, it was just like, okay, they're going through their stuff, whatever. And to me, it's like, I know what I have to do now. Of course, they were scared of me because I could see things and do things, and and they were very religious, especially my mother was very religious. So there was a lot of stuff around that, and I didn't put too much importance of it, except when it did start to come surface up the last few years. I was just like, oh. So I had to work through all of that. I had to go through all of the experiencing it and clearing it out. Yeah.
My goal, Todd, I tell Franco, is to make him cry. Because he doesn't cry.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I don't think Morgan ever said that to me, but she damn sure made me cry a lot.
Yeah, well, I'm still working on it. I mean, not to hurt him, but because I feel that, he's suppressed that for all his life, because you weren't allowed to cry as a kid. You got hit, you got beaten up, and so the flow of tears, I do feel, is a healthy thing.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't understand all that, and I even felt like I was admitting to things that I didn't really feel.
Right.
And I probably did actually, but what it did make me do was I don't know what, honor or acknowledge that this happened. Just acknowledge that this is part of you, kind of thing. And I resisted it.
Yeah.
I did it. I just, like, we need to do some shadow work. I'm like, well, I don't have any shadow. And then a week later, in many tears, I'm like, thank you. Yeah. But
I'm still waiting.
So it's interesting too, because like, and I know it's weird talking to y'all because I know you so well, and like, I don't know, just the whole masculine feminine thing. Even though I know it's where it all stands, but the fact that, like, to me, at least in this incarnation, that feminine seems to, like, I don't know, it's like this, well, like the womb, I guess. It's like the space and the patience and the nurturing and the in the background kind of thing. And but without it, there's still a creative output from let's just say the masculine force, but it gets just exponentialized, like like it just goes to a whole different level. And I guess it's both energies. I don't really, but that's one thing I notice, and I see it in y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that. It's like holding a space for I hold a space for Franco to be who he truly is.
Yeah.
Also, to not be afraid that he's not going to be ridiculed or shunned by me if he allows his emotions to come up. There will be no judgment, no nothing. No, I'm getting emotional.
Like rip the armor off, and then like okay. And so, like, another thing is, like, because we talked, well, I've talked to you several times, but I mean, a couple of times we had like long talks, and like the last time, like some of the things that you said to Franco, I'm like, I don't think anyone else could say that to Franco. And I'm the same with Morgan. Like, she says things to me, like, if somebody else said that to me, I wouldn't even give it the time of day. I'd probably just tell them to F off, or whatever. But I noticed that last time. I thought, wow, that's pretty special to be able to communicate, with such a strong, someone that's been established and so strong. Like you said earlier, you started to collaborate more as he relinquished, you know what I mean? Control or
yeah, but she likes to get in the control seat too, because
I do.
She bosses
I'm
me
bossy.
around
He
the
says
time.
I'm bossy.
Yes, you are.
I think it's for his own good, though.
See, I get the same treatment. At least I'm not in by myself over here. What do you do when you get out of alignment? How does that work?
What do I do?
Well, if
If
either
we get out of alignment?
Yeah, like if you're all out of alignment.
So usually what happens is I'll get triggered and I'll go into my room and have either my cry or write in my journal. If I'm triggered by Franco, I do know that it's totally my own program coming up that I need to look at. So as much as I want to blame him sometimes for my frustration when Oh, there's lots of little instances where I get frustrated. Mostly to do with him working a certain way when he's been told by his soul that he needs to do it this other way, and he's not paying attention, and I get frustrated, and he's not well, and then I get frustrated more, and then so I get triggered. So I go into my room and I'll do my own thing for a bit, and then when I'm ready, then I'll say, then we'll talk about it. We always talk about it, which I love about Franco, to have a grown-up conversation that we can have where we can converse about what's going on and share. And I can tell him, everything. So that's nice to have that.
Yeah, and it's the same with myself. And the thing is, we've never fought.
No, we don't fight.
Ever. It's more, we understand that there's different things playing out. So we're just going to have whatever discussion that we're going to have. And that's it. I mean, and that's what I like about it, because, I mean, she gets a lot of intel that I don't share yet. And I can say it to her, and she's well open to it, to hear it, whatever that is, because at times, like I come out of a meditation or something of that nature, and I have all these other things that show up that are really profound. And before, it was like I would have it and I couldn't really talk to anybody about it because they would think it was totally absolutely crazy. But with her, it's like she gets everything, basically. There's nothing I haven't not told her. But there's sometimes I don't say everything because not that I don't share it with her, but if you don't remind me what it is, I forget, right? Until the time comes, right? Yeah. So there are times she goes, "Oh, you never said that before." And I go, "Well, you didn't ask. That's why."
I didn't remember.
I forgot.
Yeah, because if you don't ask, I don't remember, right? So that's what I like about it, is that we can say anything to each other and we don't judge each other. I'm definitely, and even when I got into the relationship with her, I said, if you have expectations, that's not going to work, because I'm not going to have any expectations from you. And I don't want you to have any expectations from me, because that always is something that becomes a thing, because I allow people to be themselves. So I want Kimberly to be herself. I want myself to be myself, without saying, oh, I got to pretend to be something else because or else I'm going to push her buttons or I'm going to piss off somebody or something of that nature. Because I've done the dance before. We've all done the dance, in certain relationships. Yeah. You have to be this other person to not create fire, because just because you're you, right? Not that you're doing anything weird, but in their eyes, it is weird, or it's not meeting their requirements, right? So I said to her, there's no expectation and no conditions here. Okay, if you have that, we don't go any further than where we are now. And she was okay with that. And the odd time the conditions came in, but it got adjusted along the way.
So what happens when you get triggered? Do you go to your room, write in your journal?
No, because
he's very much better at hiding it than me.
The only triggers that I have, and it's not so much well, it is a personal trigger, but it's when she's like, I sense her. She doesn't have to tell me anything. It doesn't matter where she is.
You too.
Not a word has to be said, or I don't even have to see her, and I know something shifted in her. I can tell how she feels.
Yeah.
Right. And she tries to hide it sometimes. Like, don't want me to know about it. And I go, okay, what's up? What's going on? Okay, I sense it. Something shifted, and I can tell your energy is somewhere else. So there's times she goes, I can't talk right now because I'm going to cry. So I say, okay, fine, and I let it be. But eventually she does tell me, and we do look at it in a way so to help her. She keeps me more grounded as human, and also has a very open understanding. With her, I keep her above to a certain point, so that when the human stuff comes in, especially family and other things, that she doesn't get pulled into the drama.
Yeah, he can give me some more clarity on that.
Yes, because she does get pulled into drama time to time. So with her family dynamics at this point. So I always remind her, really, let's look at it from this perspective. And then it shifts her so I keep her up in certain ways where just to remind her more of anything else. And then she reminds me to be more human too.
So it's so interesting listening to these different, you know, the different nuances of the different people that are together. Because I can relate to like some of the stuff you're talking about. Like I can tell when Morgan's by now. I can tell. I still haven't quite figured out how to segue through it. Because like the old way, I'd be like, "What's wrong? No, is something wrong? No." And then already that's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was wrong.
Now I've kind of gone more quiet and just take it into myself, which seems to be working for both of us, actually. I mean, but I don't know. It's interesting because they all don't run the same when I talk to these different people.
But I think when you really connect, like, I mean, I know when something's wrong with him too. Like, I can feel him. Like, I don't even have, again, same as he with me, I am with him in regards to feeling his energy. Like, I can usually, I just have to look at him. I can tell when he's really, because like I said, he's grown up used to hiding all that, his feelings, and so he can't hide it from me. He can hide it from other people. People come over and he's interacting with them and socializing. When I'm looking at him going, oh my God, he wants to leave. He needs to get out of here. We need these people to leave now. But no one else sees it. I don't know how.
We do that. We do that.
Yeah.
We'll be places and we're like, we got to go.
Yeah.
Like we can't. Like it's weird. Yeah, it's funny you say that.
Yeah. So he so it's like that connection, and I mean I feel pretty connected to people and I can read them pretty good anyways. That's something I've always been able to do.
She's got a good radar, that's for sure.
Good radar for people.
There's no doubt that like begets like. So there's times I look at Morgan and some of the stuff she does and I'm thinking, how in the hell I can't even like conceive it, almost like when people can do something and you're like, and you can say, oh God, I wish I could do that, but then I realize I bring certain things to the table. She brings certain things to the table. But so that I know when you say you've got good intel, there's no doubt in my mind. And actually I saw this the 2 times we talked. I was like, oh my God, this woman, she's like, yeah, I can see it. I really I want to say to everybody too on the live and the replay, this series that y'all are putting out, I don't want to get all, because we talked in January. I'm like, we should do something. I want to help you do something. And I'm kicking myself in the ass the whole time watching this stuff, but it's great work. It's really, really, it's real-time intel. It's applicable. It's easy to understand. I mean, my God, people are going out there paying for courses and books and presentations and expos and conferences. And this is something that you were both moved to do free. And it's very, very, very good information. And it's on YouTube. It's on the Advancing Consciousness group on Facebook. And it's well worth the time to check it out. And I would also say to everybody too that and Franco and I have talked about this, and Morgan and I have been in this boat. We understand it. We're still in it, but we're living in a new age, and it's important to contribute. And we're living proof over here that $10, $11, $20, $5 helps. So you guys think about supporting Franco and Kimberly with contribution, because it's not free to live. We still have
not
things.
Yet.
I'm still trying to pay my rent for the RV, and it's already the middle of the month. But yeah, so I just want to say thanks. And you guys are like, I mean, I hope to see y'all. I really do.
Yeah, hopefully we get together in person.
I would really like to do that, and I would really like to collaborate with y'all. And right now it feels like it's kind of a suspended period.
Right,
like we're not, as of today, we're not going to schedule any more shows. No. We're booked out through the end of the month, and we actually got some intel. I won't talk about it because Morgan's still sitting with it, but we got some intel last night that seemed to fit your forecast of June being a whole new world, basically, you know. So we kind of got that last night. Kind of coincides with the equinox. We got it early, and yeah. So I who knows how this is going to be going, but yeah, we're shut down for a couple of weeks. We're still going to have to do shows till the end of the month, but yeah, I sure would like to collaborate with you and get together with you in person.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Yeah. So thanks for everything.
You're welcome.
Thanks for always coming to the table, Franco. And I'm just going to say too, we've really been putting it out on YouTube. You know, I've really made a concerted effort to do that. And every time I pull up the analytics, top 5 videos, it's always Franco. You know, and these are metrics that basically don't just cite the number of views, but the retention of people that watch, you know. So I want to say thanks for helping us spread the word, the platform and everything too. And we're looking forward to supporting you. So
yeah, and I'm sure we'll collaborate at some point once you get all the other stuff together, and we'll see how it goes.
Wait, you're ahead of me now. I might just need to come work over there. But I know what method you're using, but I'm just doing what I know I can do right now, what we know we can do. So, but yeah, I really, obviously I'm very fond of you both, and I just want I am.
Fond of you both.
We're fond of you guys as well. It's nice chatting with you guys.
We didn't get to
Enjoy
play
it.
with Morgan today. So.
Yeah, I thought she was going to come on.
Well, next time for
Next
sure.
time,
I
yeah.
can't get her to do it, but
Okay.
she did do a show last night. We have a new moderator that sits in my chair now, Hung Nguyen from Canada, our beloved sister, and she did an interview with me 3 weeks ago, and then she did one with Morgan, and now she's going to start doing a couple of shows a week with other people, take some of the load off me. But anyway, it was a very good show last night. It's on YouTube, it's on the Facebook page. Morgan did very well. They talked about walk-ins, DNA reprogramming, some other stuff. What was it? Banana hammock, G-strings for men in Florida.
The important stuff.
All right, I'll see y'all later.
Okay,
Take care.
thanks.
Take care.
I'll reach out soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.